can't change how other people think and act, but you're in full control of you. When it comes down to it, the only thing that matters is this: if nothing in the world ever changes, what kind of man are you going to be? So, Dear Martin follows a 17-year-old African-American boy who has a pretty traumatic experience with racial profiling while trying to help a friend get home from a party. And in response, he decides to start a journal of letters to the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to see how Dr. King's teachings hold up in the 21st century. So, Dear Martin was initially inspired by the Jordan Davis case. Jordan Davis was a 17-year-old African-American boy who was killed at a convenience store in Jacksonville, Florida, over loud music. And so I was really struck by it, and struck by the idea of a young man losing his life over the volume of music. And then a couple years later, there was a second incident involving a young man named Mike Brown. And Michael Brown was killed in Ferguson, Missouri. And in response to his death, there were these protests and marches happening all over the country. And I kept hearing people quote Dr. King in opposition to the nonviolent protests going on. And it's something that just really bothered me. So Dear Martin came out in October of 2017. And then in April 2018, I got an invitation to come to Rockwood and do a bunch of lectures and just interact with kids, do some question and answer sessions. And so I went in November, and I visited all 4 of the high schools. I spent 3 days in Rockwood having really amazing conversations with students, and just it was really life-giving. So there was a newspaper article that was talking about the controversy and also had some misinformation about Dear Martin in it. Just one of those moments where I was like, but wait, I was there, and now everybody's mad. It was a really sobering moment, to say the least. Articles said that it had explicit sexual content and drug use, and those things are not in the book at all. So it just goes to show that when people are opposed to something, they don't even read it. It's just, we don't like what this is, so we're going to oppose it, and that's that. The interesting thing about side B, the idea of diversity and inclusion, pointing out differences and dividing people, the differences are there. So if the idea is that we shouldn't point them out and we should just continue to read about one particular type of person, and that somehow reading about one particular type of person is going to bring everyone together, is nonsense. Literally, it is illogical. So I am definitely on the side of, hey, let's read more about each other. It's important to learn the ways that we are different in order to even find the places where we're similar. And I say this as somebody who, I came into the district and, talked, we had these beautiful, amazing conversations where everyone did come together, and we were talking about some really heavy, kind of hard-hitting topics. We were talking about racism. We were talking about police brutality. We were talking about things that are very much alive and well in our society, and nobody was divided on it, genuinely. There was no division. It was an opportunity for us to empathize with each other, right? Because everybody at some point has felt out of place. Everybody at some point has felt falsely accused. Everybody has felt like they don't belong or they don't fit. And it's those points that we connect on, not on some idea that we're all the same, because we're not.